right, so we're starting 4.7, which is solving two-step inequalities. So what you're going to see in this section is pretty similar problems to what you saw with two-step equations, except it's obviously dealing with inequalities. So basically it's the same steps that I would take to solve an inequality versus an equation. And the first step, if you remember, is to add and subtract to the other side. And what do I mean by that? Okay, so whatever is connected to the variable, it's always connected by multiplication and division. That's step 2. Step 1 is to deal with my addition and subtraction, and I know that that term is not connected to the variable. So how could I get negative 4 to cancel to the other side? Y'all can tell me. Plus 4. Plus 4. Add 4 to both sides. All right, and you will be graphing your solutions still. 5x is greater than or equal to 15. Divide both sides by 5. And x is greater than or equal to 3. All right, can anybody tell me what this means about my solutions? What does this mean about my solutions? You could even just give me an example, Aiden.
That the answer could be 3 or anything greater than 3.
Right, to make the inequality true, right? Because that's what we're trying to show. We're trying to show what numbers I could plug in for x to make the inequality true. And is that just one number? Is that only one answer? No, it could literally be an infinite number of answers. So that's what I'm showing here. And when I graph my answer on a number line, I'm showing basically the cutoff point. Okay? And can my answer be 3? Can it be 3?
Yes.
Yes, because it's equal to. That's why I have a closed dot on 3, and my arrow is going to the right. To the right. Okay, and an arrow. All right, and that's showing that all the numbers greater than or equal to 3 would make it true. Okay, let's look at the second one. The second one, I see division connecting my variable to my value. Okay, but before I do the division, I need to cancel my 4 to the other side. How do I do that, guys? Very good. I need to subtract 4 from both sides and bring down what's left. B over negative 3 is less than 9. All right. What would I do next? Caleb? Very good. Which would be what? Yes, very good. Negative 3 over 1, both sides. All right, can anybody tell me what the answer would be? Just like kind of read the answer. What would my answer be once I do that multiplication? Maddie?
B is less than -27.
Okay, B is less than -27. All right, what do you guys think? Think good? Uh-oh, someone's shaking their head. Samuel?
B is greater than -27.
Oh my goodness. Why would I switch? Why would I just switch my inequality like that? Anybody remember, Hadley?
Because if there's a negative connected to the variable,
Yes.
you're going into reverse.
Yes, okay. So remember that negative rule. They are going to start sneaking those problems into your worksheets, your homework, your quizzes, your tests. You're going to see that. Okay, so just remember the rule, and this is a new rule for us, so we're still working on identifying. But remember, when there's a negative number connected to the variable, so it wouldn't have mattered if 9 was negative. Okay, that doesn't switch my inequality. What switches it is the negative that's connected to the variable. All right, great job. Would that be an open dot or a closed dot?
Open.
Open. An arrow going to the right. To the right. Very good. All right, so let's move on to the next slide. In example 2, I must solve the inequality, and then I have a couple choices as to the possible graphs for my solution. But they kind of hid another concept here in this inequality. What else do you see here that we haven't seen in a while? Hadley?
The x plus 3 in parentheses.
Yes, and do you remember what we called that? What? Yes, very good. Distributive property, where I cannot add x plus 3 inside the parentheses. I must instead distribute the negative 7. Wait, should I be multiplying negative 7 times 28?
No.
No, only times what's inside the parentheses. So go ahead underneath and rewrite your inequality after the distributive property. Okay, so distributive property, I get negative 7x minus 21 is less than or equal to 28. All right, Joel, what would I do first? Or I would say next.
Add 21.
Very good. Add 21 to both sides. Okay, so when I do that, I bring down what's left. Negative 7x is less than or equal to 49. Okay, and Janice, what would I do now? What would I do next?
-7.
Uh-huh. Very good. And do it to the other side? Very good. All right, and what would be my answer, Colin?
It would be x is less than or equal to -7.
Okay. Alexa?
I think it would be x is greater than or
Oh my goodness. Why would you just switch the inequality? What do you think, Colin? Do you think she should switch it?
This is the negative connected to the variable.
Yes, the negative's connected to the variable. Very good. You see how that can really be kind of subtle, right? You see how that would be an easy mistake to make. So when the negative is connected to the variable, I must reverse my inequality. So now that I reversed it, which graph does it match? Which graph does it match now that I reversed it? Isla? Yes, it matches with graph B. Yes. Did anybody say A? Did anybody say A? So if you forgot to reverse it, then you might have said A, but it's not. Okay. All right, how do we do on that one, guys? You do okay? All right, good job. Okay, so we see this distributive property really starting to creep back in. What I want to do now, so I want you to try to distribute this inequality. Go ahead and do your distributive. See if you can get down to your answer. Okay, you don't have to graph this solution. Okay, so I distribute. Jack, what did you get when you distributed? On the first one. First one up here.
2k minus 10
Uh-huh.
less than 6.
Very good.
I think
All
I
right.
have the answer for the second.
Okay, good.
Say it.
Okay, not yet. Aaliyah, what did you do next? What'd you do next? I know we're kind of backing up to 2k minus 10 is less than 6. Yeah, it's very good. I think you just had to get your bearings there for a minute. Okay, so we add 10 to both sides, and now 2k is less than 16, so we can divide both sides by 2, and k is less than 8. K is less than 8. Who got that one right? You guys get it right? All right, good job. All right, this next one's tricky. What did you do first? Somebody want to raise your hand and tell me, what did you do first? Caleb? Yes, you flipped it. Remember, when that variable comes second, it's almost like reading backwards, okay? So let's rewrite it, okay? 0.5 times 8 plus y is less than, okay? So we see how it's closed off towards the y, so when we reverse it, we have to make sure it stays in that direction, okay? And negative 3. All right, so now, we're dealing with a value less than 1. We have to remember we're taking half. Okay, so 0.5 times 8. What did you guys get? 4. Yes, half of 8. So remember, when we say it that way, when we just say half of a number, it makes it a lot easier to know, oh yeah, like that's simple, right? That's just half of a number. All right, so that's going to be 4. Plus 0.5y. Did you guys get that? is less than negative 3. All right, what's my next step? Mr. Haynes, Aiden, what do you think your next step is going to be? 4 plus 0.5y is less than negative 3.
Subtract 4 on both sides.
Yes, very good. You're going to subtract 4 on both sides. Okay, and now I have 0.5y is less than negative 7. All right, so we can recognize pretty easily what do we need to do to both sides. We need to divide by 0.5. All right, but you have to remember when you are dividing by a decimal, all right, and again, remember what I reminded you about. 0.5 is also equivalent to what as a fraction? 1/2. Okay, and it may be easier for you to see what to do if you were to write it as a fraction. What happens when you have to divide by a fraction? You guys had one of these on your worksheet yesterday. You guys remember? I know, this is a tough one. Dividing by a fraction, I need to do what, Isla? Yes, the reciprocal. So actually dividing by 1/2 would be equivalent to multiplying by its reciprocal. I'm going to explain in a minute why this actually does make sense, okay? And this might help you guys. So y is less than negative 14. Did anybody get it? Okay, all right. That one's definitely a challenge. All right, let me see if I can explain this to you. Okay, listen. Shh. I know this is a real new concept for you. Okay, let's just talk in terms of positive numbers. What's 7 divided by 1? 1. No, 7 divided by 1. 7. Okay, 7 divided by 1 is 7. So think about it. If you're dividing 7 by a value less than 1, the answer should be more than 7, right? So how many of you put 3.5? So you try to half that value, but if you're dividing by a value less than 1, that's actually going to make that value larger. Okay, we'll work on it. I know that that's kind of like, sometimes can mess with your head a little bit. All right, but remember, when we're dividing by a value less than 1, we actually are dealing with the reciprocal. Okay, all right, so we're not really going to let up on these challenge questions. Okay, a 2-step inequality. You guys remember writing the 1 steps the other day? Okay, so let me give you a hint here. Guys, listen up. Listen up. Here's a hint that could help you. All right, you need a 2-step, which means you need a number connected to your variable. Just do the multiplication. Let's say, let me just do 2x, okay? Whatever number you choose, all right, and guys, remember, this is the end of chapter 4, so this is some of the more challenging stuff. Whatever number you choose to connect to your variable, you want to choose other values that are multiples of that number, right? It's just easier because your answer will work out to be a whole number. All right, so multiples of 2. Can y'all say them with me? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. You can keep going, right? Okay, but here's the challenge. This problem is telling us what our answer needs to be. Our answer needs to be -5. And which way is it going?
Right.
To the right. So is it going to be greater? Okay. So 2x, you really can pick, okay, this second number, we could pick, let's say, plus 10. All right. You just told me it needs to be greater than. Okay. Now this number here, I have to figure out what that number needs to be in order for the difference to be a total that could be divided by 2 to equal -5. All right, so here's what I would challenge you to do. Subtract 10. What number can I subtract 10 from? Okay, think about it this way. What number divided by +2 would equal -5? Can anybody tell me that? Maybe I should have chosen 5 because the last class got it with 5. Joel?
Wait, like the thing we're supposed to put there? Like something that'll work?
Yeah.
-20?
No, not quite. Okay, so I probably should have chosen a different number because it actually needs to be 0. Okay, just watch. Okay, we'll do another one in a second. All right, look what happens. What's 0 minus 10? What's 0 minus 10? Negative 10. Okay. All right, and now I have 2x is greater than negative 10 divided by 2, both sides, and my answer is negative 5. All right, now there's a reason this is a 2-day, because we're going to spend a good amount of tomorrow working on some of this, okay? So the 2-step inequalities, I knew that was going to be pretty quick, but actually writing our own, that's where it gets challenging. I mean, that's next level stuff, guys, you know, to actually be able to do it backwards. All right, let's try another one. Okay, I'm going to go to the one I actually did last class because I think it went over a little better. I'm sorry, what now? Do you have room like on the back? Absolutely. Yeah, just go ahead and flip to the homework lines. How are we doing on time? We got about 6 minutes left. And again, this is the last thing that we're doing today. Your homework tonight is to arrange your notebook, so don't worry about, if you're not getting this, we're actually going to do some more of it tomorrow. Okay? All right, so let's do this one. Okay, 5x. Do you guys remember what I said about the other numbers you need to use in your inequality? Multiples of now what?
5.
Multiples of 5, right? Okay, and my answer still needs to be negative 5. So this step 1, I want the combination of those numbers, okay, to be a value that I could divide by that number to give me negative 5. All right, so here we go. 5x plus 10. Okay, 5x plus 10. It's still greater than, but now I need a number. Again, this was plus 10, so I'm going to end up minusing it to the other side. What number could I subtract 10 from? Okay, what number could I subtract 10 from? Jack? Joel?
I had it.
Aaliyah?
35?
Okay, you're on the right track, but no. That would give me a value, 5x is greater than some number here that I could divide, and my answer would be negative 5. Hadley?
Negative 10.
No, because it has to be negative 20. No. Colin?
Negative 15?
Yes, I knew we were getting close. Was anybody else going to say negative 15? Anybody? Okay. So remember, guys, the combination of these values needs to be able to be divided by 5. All right, now I divide by 5, and x is greater than negative 5. Again. Y'all think you can do one? Okay, did somebody already do one?
I did.
Somebody already do one? Okay, Addie.
I did this one before y'all even started.
Okay.
I did negative 2x plus 10, and then it's greater than 20.
Okay, so you're going to have to say less than 20 because you're going to end up dividing by a negative. So that's the only thing. If you connect a negative to your variable, you'll have to switch your inequality. But that still actually works out great. You still subtract 10, and now negative 2x is less than 10. Divide by negative 2 both sides. Because you divided by a negative, you now reverse your inequality, and her answer is perfect. Her answer is perfect. All right, and again, it's next level stuff, guys. We're at the end of chapter 4. We know we're going to start seeing some hard concepts. If you can get here, that means you're on like next level type of knowledge, okay? So that really, really is a great thing. We're going to finish up that modeling real life tomorrow. So we'll stop here. We've got about 2 minutes left in class, and we'll start packing up.